Only 80% of students have reported back to school. This is the statistics from the Education Ministry, where over 15 million students, only 80% have resumed learning. Where are the 20%? That is the question that we are asking tonight. But first things first, here are the stories making headlines tonight. Welcome once more to the program. My name is Abdiaziz. Hashim, our sign language interpreter. At the bottom end of the screen is Joyce. We must stick around for the next 50 minutes or so to get the latest. And we start off on education front, where learners in schools affected by floods in Baringo and other areas in the country can finally breathe a sigh of relief after the government released 70 million Kenya shillings to cater for renovations. At the same time, the Ministry of Education has also assured of the disbursement of 18 billion shillings capitation to facilitate a smooth running of the reopening process in both primary and secondary school. Winnie Lubembe starts our coverage.
As the reopening of schools takes shape in its second day, a section of schools in the country have had their fair share of burden of reopening smoothly. Floods in Baringo County forced a number of learners to lose sight of being back to class after 9 months away, while for some, lacking the adequate resources to effect the COVID-19 protocols. However, coming to their aid, the government, through the Ministry of Education, has received funds to address the unending issues. Assuring the disbursement of the funds was Education CS Professor George Magoha at Kianjao Primary School in Kiandutu slums in Thika, Kiambu County. Magoha noted that a sum of 18 billion shillings has already been released to all government primary and secondary schools.
But the money has been released to the banks. A surprise for me because I thought the other one would come maybe a day or two later. But they were released at the same time because of the intervention of His Excellency the President, which meant it was even further prioritized. So if somebody has no money in his account by Thursday, let that person look for me.
And for schools affected by floods in areas such as Baringo and Bunyala,
the government has provided money. I said so very clearly. The one that was completely washed away earlier, we provided over 70 million shillings, and I think the building is ongoing. The two schools in Baringo that cannot be rehabilitated again, we have given 10 million shillings each to one of them.
Meanwhile, at least 80% of learners have reported back to class since the reopening of schools.
I'm hoping that at this rate, by Thursday, we should be talking about 100%. We are going to look for the children, irrespective of the cause for not reporting. We shall firmly persuade them to come to school and they'll be brought to school.
Si tulihakikisha watoto wameenda shule 100% ile transition. The same method we are going to use. Tukijua tuseme ni hii saa ali. Si tutajua ni watoto gani ambao hawajarudi shule. Si tunajua majina yao, tunajua wazazi wao, tunajua pale wanatoka. We engage that chief wa hiyo area. Kama mtoto aliolewa Kakamega atuambie. Na huko Kakamega tutampreza ataenda shule huko.
Elsewhere, in Rarieda Sub-County, Siaya County, over 270 pupils of Golden Heart Academy are unable to resume learning after their school was demolished over alleged land tussle. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Now to one of those institutions that have been affected by floods, students of Musoma SCK High School in Budalangi have been forced to take a boat to school due to the overflowing Lake Victoria. Now the flooding has made parents to spend more in maintaining their kids' attendance to schools despite the dangers the floods poses. Now the flood poses a high risk to the learners as some of them are expected to compete with other students and schools in the upcoming national examinations.
Watu tunapita kwa maji tukienda kila siku shuleni, kila wakati tukienda lunch, tukienda nyumbani.
Musoma Primary School. Tunapita kwa maji kila asubuhi. Kutoka kwa shule. Tunahangaika shamba. Jina langu Tari Singwedu kwa tunatezeka tukienda kwa shule tunapita kwa maji. Nguo zinaloa.
Kwa jina naitwa Kalibotia. Sileti kuna maji sasa tunaomba tu msaada. Watengeneze barabara. Wazibe maji ya mafuriko tutengeneze hata hapo kwa barabara. Hata secondary yetu ilifungwa maji ilijaa. Watoto walitoroka kwa shule kwa wanasomea tuko ng'ambo.
Watoto wawezi wakapita vizuri wakienda shule ya primary. Hata choo hawana. za kutumia kupita kuenda kwa madarasa pia ni shida. Tuko na changamoto sana hapa tunaomba tu serikali tusaidie na choo na vitu zingine za kutumia. Huko upande wa secondary pia maji imejaa madarasa yote imejaa na maji. Hakuna mahali pa kupita, watoto wamehama wameenda Lugare. Ndio wanasomea. Hii shule yetu ya Anglikani siku hizi imekufa kabisa. Imehamiswa.
Now elsewhere, the Ministry of Education has released the school calendar for the years 2021, 2022 and 2023. This is in line with the revised school calendar affected by the COVID-19 pandemic that has seen all learners resume classes on January 4, 2021. The revised school calendar has seen the reduction of holidays for learners aimed at ensuring that schools are able to cover for lost time.
The Ministry of Education is on the run to ensure that the reopening process that kick-started yesterday runs smoothly. This is after releasing the revised school calendar that stretches from 2020 to 2023. In the released calendar, all continuing learners in Grade 1 to 3, Class 5 to 7 and Form 1 to 3 will resume studies on January 4th for their Term 2. The Term 2 learning expected to last for only 11 weeks, after which students will break on March 19th, 2021 for a one-week holiday. Thereafter, Term 3 will start officially on May 10th, 2021 up to July 16th, 2021 and preceded by a 10-day holiday before learners resume for their next academic year. As Term 3 progresses on Grade 4 and incoming Form 1 students will remain at home as the rest complete their terms. Grade 4 learners will then later transit to Grade 5 in July. However, learners will have a 7 weeks holiday after 2022's Term 3 from March 5th, 2022 to April 24th, 2022. Meanwhile, in Kisii County, textbook sellers have decried low businesses following increments on value-added tax on taxable goods, even as some parents scramble for last-minute back-to-school shopping. This year's sales, according to the booksellers, have drastically declined as compared to last year, January. The depressing sales owing to the harsh economic times that have been occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic.
Today, the books that were being sold at a high rate include the mathematical tables and the geometrical sets, which will be used by the candidates to do their KCSE exams. Most parents are struggling, especially with the COVID-19 that is challenging the country.
The VAT on taxable goods was to increase from 14% to 16% effective 1st January 2021, as per the directive by the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Planning, Ukuri Atani. Milia Kisenya for Ebru TV.
Now, private school owners have accused the government of sidelining them in the reopening of schools. The owners have specifically expressed dissatisfaction with the recent remarks by Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha in regards to transferring learners from private to public schools. Now, David Muchina, the director of Early Bird Group of Schools based in Machakos County, admitted that private schools had been overwhelmed by debt arising from electricity bills, rent, bank loans and delayed salaries for teachers and non-teaching staff. He averred that they are yet to receive the economic stimulus package promised by the government.
Private schools to also be assisted with those debts because there is no private or public child. We are all children of Kenya and we may not want to show such kind of discrimination between children that are in public and in private. Children are children. The private sector is just an agent for that purpose, helping the government to discongest the children in public schools. And having done that noble job of assisting the government, it would help if we are also assisted in the financial aspect of it.
Kimaoni yangu, sioni kama serikali iko tayari kusaidia shule za kibinafsi hapa Kenya. Na ndio unapata hata Waziri Magoha anasema shule za binafsi zilizofungwa, wanafunzi kama wale waende shule za nini? Za serikali. Kwa nini asiseme zile shule za private zilizofungwa, wale wanafunzi waende zile shule jirani za nini? Za private.
The reason why the academy was closed down is because it became very expensive to run an academy, because we have many private institutions, and what we have noticed is that there is not enough support from the government. So we had to close.
To the streets of Kisumu County, where a section of students from Kisumu National Polytechnic were up in arms today after they claimed that one of their own was killed under unclear circumstances. The students claim that the deceased was stabbed severally on the chest. And as our reporter Daniel Dembede now tells us, the students picketed till the county governor's office.
Learning activity at the Kisumu National Polytechnic was disrupted for some time after students protested the killing of their comrade who was stabbed by thugs. The students held a peaceful demonstration marching to the office of the governor as well as the county police commander. Being led by Steve Ebru, one of the student leaders condemned the incident, calling for security beefing within the school environment.
One of the students of the Kisumu Polytechnic was stabbed along Moi Stadium to Manyata Road.
Yes.
This is because there are no street lights along that road. Not only the road, but around the Kisumu National Polytechnic fraternity.
Yes.
It's not the first time we are experiencing insecurity around this institution.
Yes.
It is not the first time.
Yes.
Today we are mourning a comrade.
Yes.
That is Malaki Mario.
Yes.
Who is one of our own and who passed on yesterday.
Yes.
Who passed on yesterday in the hands of thugs.
Yes.
And the message that we want to pass across is that the security sector must give us information about the measures that they are putting in place to ensure that this area is safe. Comrades, power!
Sources indicate that the deceased was with a colleague who were attacked by unknown men and sustained injuries, where he was taken to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Referral Hospital, but was later discharged and later died at home.
Yesterday, Patrick Omondi Malaki died under reckless handling of medley call officers. That was negligence of the highest order. Today we are very sad.
The Kisumu National Polytechnic is the biggest parastatal in Kisumu County.
Yes.
And its security should be given a priority.
Activists led by Boniface Akach have called upon the police to up their patrols rather than engaging unnecessary issues, yet students are dying.
Hakuna venye watu wanaweza kuja na wanavamia wanafunzi wa shule wawili na kuwadunga visu. Na hiyo sio kisa ya kwanza. Kumekuwa na visa vingi vya insecurity hapa around Polytechnic na ma community around Kisumu in general. So polisi pia inafaa wakaze kamba, wawache kutafuta tu watu wa pombe na wawache kuharas wananchi na kukuwa na ukatili.
Daniel Dembede, Ebru TV, Kisumu County.
Now, from one strike to another, health workers from Mombasa County have threatened to down their tools, thus crippling health services if the Council of Governors does not satisfy their demands before the lapse of 48 hours. This comes after the Council distanced itself from the bargaining agreement between the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union and the national government.
The year has begun on a sour note for health workers in the country after the Council of Governors distanced themselves from the bargaining agreement that was signed by both the national government and the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU.
This is typically cynical of what the government is. And basically, they intend to actually not to address the issues that we raised before the government. Issues to compensate our colleagues who have succumbed. It's not a matter that you can discuss for a period of more than 1 month. And this is an issue that is in law and it needs to be addressed collectively between the national government and the Council of Governors. And when the Council of Governors actually withdraws or the links itself from the negotiations that were ongoing and which they were party to, it tells us a lot. And as nurses, since we have not entered into an agreement, we need to be cautious of what the Council of Governors is doing.
healthcare givers are now threatening to paralyze healthcare services in government facilities if the grievances are not solved amicably.
Find a solution before you threaten or before you want to force members who already are on leave. You want to ask them to come back. They are part of this strike. And anybody who is on leave and has been asked to go back to work, kindly ignore any call, ignore any letter calling you to go back to work. Because the issues affecting our colleagues here who are not on leave that time affect you directly.
Through their representatives Peter Maroko and Franklin Makanga, the medical professionals vowed to don their tools and gag health services at government health facilities pending payment of their salary arrears and statutory remittances.
And basically, the issues remains the same, especially on matters to do with the WIBA compensation, that is occupational safety of our members. We still stand with that because there is no another way we can actually appreciate our colleagues who have already lost their lives because their families need to live on. And therefore, the government has to take responsibility and pay all the families that whose colleagues or whose family members succumbed to COVID-19. And the issue to do with the PPE supplies, it's not negotiable. There's no way we can negotiate for PPEs now. It's the government's responsibility to provide sufficient, right, and quality PPEs for our health workers.
The healthcare givers are now calling for quick resolution of their plight for people to enjoy uninterrupted service delivery at public health services. The union called on the county government of Mombasa, led by Governor Hassan Joho, to resolve the matter and let people get their much-deserved health services.
And I want to call upon the Chief Officer Public Health and Sanitation here in Mombasa. The approach she's taking on addressing issues to do with health workers is typically out of this world. You cannot threaten members whom you are who are afflicted with your actions.
They claimed that the health personnel fraternity demanded better PPEs to prevent them from contracting the COVID-19 disease, which has claimed some of the members and is adversely affecting health workers in general. They are also asking for the compensation of the families of the members who succumbed to COVID-19. Reporting for Ebru TV, this is Kaunga Chule.
Now let's come back here to the capital where more than 20 families in Kileleshwa area in Nairobi woke up to a sudden eviction exercise this morning, while some were forced to seek shelter elsewhere after they got wind of a planned night eviction. Among the affected families include pensioners of one of a giant telecommunication company in the country who were forced to camp outside as evictors interrupted their sleep, claiming the process was legal. Wangoi Kamaru with more details.
Early morning in Kileleshwa, what was expected to be a peaceful morning turned chaotic. The Kenya Pipeline volleyball coach, Paul Gitau, said that the evictors raided their premises early morning, armed with crowbars as they forced them out of their homes.
Since 2007, tumekuwa kotini on and off. And it was not very, very easy because this is where we know it's home. But these people wanatupita nyuma, wanafanya vile wamefanya, like now wamebeba vitu zetu. We have a case in court which is not yet concluded, lakini wamekuja kinyume, wamekuja na court order which I don't know is from where. They have come with the police officers from Kileleshwa police station. We have told them to confirm these court orders. They have not done it.
According to Gitau, most of them are pensioners of a telecommunications company in Kenya and have fought off several eviction notices since 2007. He added that the case was scheduled for December 22nd, 2020, but never proceeded as they had an active court case to resolve the matter.
No, this is not the first time. They came on 22nd of December. We told them they should show us the court order. They did not have. They was not given an okay by Kileleshwa police station. So they came in the morning and they left. Now you see, they went to court, got a fake court order. Now they have come, they have done it. 2018 they did the same thing. And you see the problem is 2018 walibeba nyumba vitu za watu wote.
Their lawyer, Elias Mutuma, termed the eviction as illegal and against the provisions of the constitution.
But every morning they wake up, they just want these ones in Kileleshwa. Just because the houses are in Kileleshwa, they are very prime, that's all. So they want to kick us out, they occupy the houses. Which one we cannot allow. We are not going to give it very loose. No. We are going to fight it until the end. And I believe God is in heaven and he knows. Sisi hatunyang'anyi mtu kitu.
The residents condemned the incident, which saw a number of their homes raided and property destroyed. They have expressed dissatisfaction in the manner in which police handle their complaints every time they report the case. Wangoi Kamweru, Ebru TV.
And in other news, the battle for the soul of the capital has taken an interesting twist after it emerged that Mike Sonko's deputy governor nominee, that is Anne Kananu Mwenda, could take charge of the capital as the substantive governor. Now, this is after the petitioner, Peter Agoro, filed a notice to withdraw a case against the nomination of Anne Kananu as the deputy governor. The Green City under the sun could witness a change of guard in the coming days if the proceedings of the corridors of justice today is anything to go by. Peter Agoro, who had filed a petition to block Kananu from being vetted by the Nairobi County Assembly, has now moved to court to withdraw the case against the nomination of Anne Kananu as the deputy governor. And according to legal minds, this could be a blessing in disguise for Anne Kananu because it has emerged that she could become the first female governor of Nairobi County.
If the court agrees that there was no vacancy in the first instance and the governor was properly impeached, Igade remains. If the court finds that the governor was impeached, Igade resigned, Kananu's rights will be infringed because it is the court that told her to hold on, therefore preempting whatever happened on impeachment. And indeed, it will be assumed that at the point or the instance that the former governor was being impeached, Anne Kananu was properly a deputy governor. Then Anne Kananu rises to the occasion, becomes the governor. The county speaker takes back his role, and by that avoiding a by-election.
Kananu's nomination was withheld by the case against her, and now she could likely be vetted and take charge of the city. According to Dan Okach, a legal analyst in Nairobi, the latest move will allow the speaker, who is currently the acting governor, to resume his normal duties at the county assembly.
If all the three fail, then the 60-day will actually start running because it will cause the need for the IEBC to gazette afresh, and time will start running as of the date that the court will have determined this matter.
In the petition, Agoro had argued that Sonko had violated court orders by making the nomination, since at the time the Anti-Corruption Court, Magistrate Douglas Ogoti, had barred Sonko from accessing office. The move comes barely a day after the High Court suspended the Nairobi gubernatorial by-election, which is scheduled for February 18th, pending and hearing determination of a petition filed by Mike Mbuvi Sonko, who was impeached last month. Justice Anthony Mrima suspended the Gazette notice, which was issued by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC on December 22, 2020, until Sonko's case is heard and determined. Already, close to 10 candidates have declared interest to succeed Sonko in City Hall race. Among them is businesswoman Agnes Kagure and former Dagoretti South Member of Parliament Dennis Waweru. However, this turn of events sends IEBC back to the drawing board. There have also been claims that senior politicians in Jubilee and ODM could be pushing for a no by-election in Nairobi after it emerged that their candidates could be trounced by a candidate backed by Deputy President William Ruto-led faction of Jubilee. Now, to a letter that continues to cause jitters among the political class, the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM party boss Raila Amolo Odinga hangs in the balance following political jitters from a section of leaders. The letter by Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kang'ata has caused Odinga's confidants to spit fire, asking the head of state to come clean over the controversial letter on the popularity of the Building Bridges Initiative report. Our political affairs reporter Jeff Haemba with the latest.
On the 9th of March 2018, a child was born at the Harambee House, a handshake which culminated into the BBI between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the ODM party leader Raila Odinga. A BBI that is meant to lead to a referendum has seen divisions in the Jubilee camp, with the Deputy President William Ruto's allies feeling agitated over the report.
Not that BBI is a bad thing. Indeed, it is not a bad thing. The challenge we have is, can we have it at the right time? Or if we must have it now, why must we spend money on it? And we are saying, from where I sit, that it is possible to agree and have a chorus question and say, so many of the opinions say aye, everyone will say aye.
But what has caused rumbles in the handshake is the recent letter by Senate Majority Leader Irungu Kangata to President Uhuru Kenyatta, poking holes in the BBI document about its popularity.
So Irungu Kangata's statement tells you that we have few Kenyans today, regardless of what kind of plum jobs you have given them, they can stand up to you and tell you, boss, this is not what we expect of you. Naked. So what Kangata did, and I think I want to agree with him, because pushing such a serious agenda of BBI in the midst of a pandemic is a joke.
It's a letter that has brought about mixed reactions across the political divide, with some asking about the timings, a move that is likely to end the marriage between President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga ahead of the 2022 succession politics.
Senator Irungu Kangata, who has written a letter to the president about the BBI, should not be vilified or condemned. Rather, he should be honored, respected, and given a pat on the back for actually supporting the BBI.
I've had some comments from the ODM fraternity that they are strategizing, they're seeing a hand of betrayal. Betrayal or not, facts can never be distorted. Please take them at the face value, lest you suffer the consequences. From where I see it, if I was them who are reading mischief, it is not mischief for the sake of it. It's reality. This thing called BBI, I can tell you, is flogging almost a dead horse.
Kangata has been a critical player in the whipping errand members going against the wish of President Kenyatta. Last year, Kangata was part and parcel of the team that whipped senators and the members of parliament holding critical positions in the August House. The leaders assumed to be allies of the Deputy President William Ruto. But what surprises many is why the drastic turn of the events.
That Irungu Kangata is one bold Kenyan who does not look at where his bread is buttered, but he feels for Kenyans, and he looks back and says, my constituents may throw the baby with bathwater. Even he may say it in between this document, there are positive things and negative things. Why would you want us to say yes or no when we can reason together? I don't want to imagine what the intention would be or the end game, but your guess is as good as mine. The message has been passed, and anybody who is sensible enough will know that, honestly, this boat is almost capsizing. The best thing you need to do, grab your safety jacket and fly with it.
Until now, Kangata has avoided media after the controversial letter, even as President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga also maintained a silence. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Khaemba.
And on that note, we take a short commercial break on this Ebru Primetime News on the 5th of January 2021. Don't go too far. I'll be back with more news. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, trouble continues to dog the Building Bridges Initiative report after Mombasa-based Muslim lobby moved to court seeking to stop the Building Bridges Initiative BBI signature verification process. Now, the lobby says that the IEBC has been unable to show how it will verify the signatures and thus should not continue with the said exercise.
Early last week, the IEBC revealed that it had hired 400 clerks to conduct the BBI signature exercise.
It's being compiled.
However, the exercise may fail to take off if the courts give in to the prayers of the Mombasa-based Muslim for Human Rights to stop the exercise. Through lawyer Caroline Kituku for Mohori, the rights group asked the court to bar the Electoral Commission from proceeding with the signature verification. Mohori had written to IEBC under the Freedom of Information Act demanding to know whether or not the commission maintains a database of specimen signatures of all registered voters. In response, the IEBC, through its acting secretary Secretary Marjan Hussein Marjan said the commission only maintains biographic and biometric data of registered voters. Mohori chairperson Khalif Khalifa argues that based on the IEBC on admission, the commission does not hold a database for specimen voters' signatures, and it will be difficult to verify if the 4.4 million BBI signatures were genuine. The case was certified as urgent and will be heard on January 14th with IEBC and Speakers Ken Lusaka of the Senate and Justin Motori of the National Assembly listed as second and third respondents. The push to stop the BBI is one of the many hurdles that the handshake document between President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM party leader Raila faces. The move also comes at a time when Senate Majority Whip and Murang'a Senator Dr. Irungu Kang'ata has caused a storm after claiming that the BBI had the least support in the region. In a letter to President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kang'ata urged the president to change tact towards the adoption of the BBI, failure to which the document would miserably fail in the region. Wangoi Kamweru, Ebru TV.
Still on the same, ODM party members led by Dagoretti North Member of Parliament Simba Arati are now demanding President Uhuru Kenyatta to come clean over Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kang'ata's controversial letter on the popularity of the Building Bridges Initiative report. Take a look.
Mheshimiwa for joining us today just to share on several issues pertaining the countries, the state of the country. And one of the key issues about the current letter by the Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kang'ata, a letter that has actually caused a political jitters in the country. Maybe as a member from the opposition party, ODM party, what exactly is your point?
Hemba, you know what is happening. We are seeing really characters of individuals. The individuals who have been playing in this political game that is coming out. And we are seeing a lot of insincerity from the entire group of, not even entire, mostly the people who believe they control politics. Kang'ata, if you check Kang'ata's sentiment, Kang'ata, you know very well that he has been a Tanga person for so long. Until the other day, I think, when they promised him to give him leadership in the Senate. Therefore, his heart, despite the fact that fiscally is in Uhuru's camp, but the whole heart is in Tanga. But also there is a say, you know, many people they are saying this could be a game of Uhuru's team. Uhuru's team. They are sending a signal to Baba that this thing, we are not going to move with it. I think we are done with you. We want to chat our way out of this. I want to repeat on what Duale said in Msambweni when they're celebrating the victory of the current Member of Parliament there, Faisa. And I'm keenly following his words. What Duale said is that Raila, be careful. You will be played the way you are played the time of Kibaki. You have seen what has happened now with Ruto. You are not exceptional. That's what Kinadware they are telling him. We are keenly watching to see what is unfolding. But as always, we are ready. We have so many options. We'll chat our way the way it was, because we want also Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta to come out and stamp authority if he was to stamp authority in the central province. For him to show us indeed is in this business sincerely. Even if it's, I saw him rather saying clacking the whip. We are yet to understand what is exactly happening.
But Mheshimiwa, the same Irungu Kang'ata was the best bet to replace Susan Kihika when it was hinted that Kihika was actually an ally of the Deputy President William Ruto, and she was actually unable to push President Kenyatta's agenda. So why do you feel that Irungu Kangata is a Tanga sympathizer?
No, you see, what Irungu has been doing, Irungu, as I put it earlier, Irungu physically can be seen to be with with the president. But the truth is that his heart could be with the deputy president. Therefore, it's a game that we are watching keenly. I can tell you without fear of contradiction, we are in this country to stay, and we are determined to make changes which will benefit our generation and the generation to come. Not the generation of these gentlemen, most of them who have passed their time, who have everything to celebrate about in life. Most of us, we don't have anything to celebrate in life because of the lives and the hard times people are undergoing as a country. Because we expected under the leadership, because that is our perception, we expected the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta. If it's acquiring of wealth, already he got money was there. If it's land, he got land was there. Money, I'm informed, or the story around is that the family of President Uhuru Kenyatta, through their businesses, they make 26 million per day. Therefore, if it's money is not an issue. We expected him to come to power, for him to fix the ailing country that had been robbed. But what did he do? He came in, kept quiet. Ruto went on rampage. Now he has camouflaged himself as if he's now the savior. There is this common song in Swahili. Amevalia ngozi ya kondoo, kumbe ndani ni umbwa mwitu. And that's William Samoei Ruto. He has camouflaged himself to tell us that he's now the hustler to save the nation. No, he has been there for, okay, let us assume for 1 year he has been having differences with the president. But the 7 years is the one who has been running the show. If they wanted to fix the problems now we're talking about, they would have fixed for the 7 years that they are together. Therefore, our big worry is that where are we as a young generation? Our children's, where would they be? Therefore, it's a fallacy, and I want to ask Kangata, let Kangata tell us who sent him. And we are not scared. We have fought them when they were united. Now that even when they're where they are, we can fight them politically until they understand that we are in this country as a one people.
But then, Mheshimiwa, do you appreciate that they have actually expressed their true colors very early as we begin the new year?
That's what I tell you, Hemba, that we are keenly watching how they are camouflaging, how they are, they are like donkeys, which was painted, either red or blue or orange. Now it's started raining on them, and we are discovering, these were really not genuine people. Yeah.
But then, Mheshimiwa, how will it be if this indeed we have a breakup between President and the ODM chief Raila Odinga? Will you be able to actually convince the masses as initially you have been doing, Mheshimiwa?
No. There is no breakup. The only thing we are going to manage it. If there is, of course, if it was the worst, we are in the country, we'll play our politics the way we know it. We are not visitors here. We mean well for the country, and we will baptize people, including the ones in Jubilee, and even Tanga. There are people who mean well, but there is only confusion. There are members of parliament in Tanga who mean well. Even to some extent, when you see Ruto, some senses has come back to him. But indeed, our main concern is the way he has behaved for 7 years. Therefore, he can't convince us that now that they are parted, if they did not part away, things could have been okay. If Raila did not come into the question, these guys could have branded more as we are moving on.
Mheshimiwa, you have been so much passionate or so much concern about the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. But then you hear that some of your colleagues, parliamentarians, part of them have been involved in the syndicate of looting public money meant to fight the coronavirus.
No, it's very unfortunate. If anybody, let us be very, very sincere. If anybody is involved in it, especially, leave about even COVID. I saw the other day at DCI has summoned Oscar Sudi over NHIF fraud. There are people even who can steal from the death. There are people who will want to pickpocket a naked man. Whereas you know very well this person has not even pockets. He's naked. That's the level of immorality. No morality, immorality is of the highest order in our country. And that's why I've told you, the common principle in economics need to be applied slightly for us to have sanity in the country. We must be having order. The most disciplined team today we can talk about is the police. Because these people have weapons. If they wanted to fight, if they wanted to fire, they could do at any given time. But because of discipline, they cannot do that. We need to go back to our roots. It's not going to be easy because now we are contaminated. We need a strong leader. And Uhuru had an opportunity. I hope in another one year remaining, he'll be able to put sense in some areas so that when he leaves, he can smile when he's in retirement. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That is our reporter Jeff Khaemba just having one-on-one session with Dagoretti North Member of Parliament, that is Simbarati. Thank you so much, Jeff. Now turning to our COVID-19 stats tonight, 219 more people have tested positive for COVID-19 in the country from a sample size of 5,413 tested in the last 24 hours, bringing to 97,127 the number of confirmed positive cases in the country.
The Ministry of Health said the cases include 170 Kenyans, while 49 are foreigners, 136 are males, and 83 are females. The youngest is a 2-month-old infant, while the oldest is 90 years old. Of the 219 cases, Nairobi leads with 141 cases, Mombasa 26, Uasin Gishu 7, Kisumu 6, Machakos 5, same as Taita Taveta, Kiambu, Kwale and Nakuru 4 cases each, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kajiado and Meru 3 cases each, while Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Nandi, Nyandarua, Siaya and Turkana 1 case each. At the same time, 100 patients are reported to have recovered from the disease, 83 being from the home-based care program, while 17 have been discharged from various hospitals. The total recoveries now stand at 79,357. Currently, there are 614 patients admitted in various health facilities countrywide and 2,940 on home-based care and isolation. 29 patients are in intensive care unit, 15 of whom are on ventilatory support and 11 on supplemental oxygen. 3 are on observation. Another 17 patients have separately been placed on supplementary oxygen, 16 of whom are in the general wards and 1 in high dependency unit. Sadly, 4 more patients have succumbed to the disease, pushing the cumulative fatalities to 1,690. The cumulative tests so far done in the country stand at 1,064,400.